It's alive. Not for long. Um, Another shout out to Davis Winchester. Anyone out there that doesn't watch his live streams, it's hard for me down here at the bottom of the world because when he's streaming, it's only an accident if I somehow am awake when he's streaming. But he's the most intelligent, knowledgeable jazz fiend, jazz fiend um, out there, and yeah, he's gonna go places. That young fella, he really is. So I was just thinking. I was reading Charles Shaar Murray's Crosstown Traffic. It's not a biography of Jimi Hendrix, but it is about Jimi Hendrix. But then once he sort of goes through, the Jimmy's thing, then he goes back through, where things came from, and I was reading a chapter today where, there were guys like Hendrix 50 years before him, but they just didn't have the equipment, the gear, the recording facilities, the money, whatever. I'm not putting Jimmy down. He's my number one. And but it's just so, Elvis. I've never ever liked Elvis. I just thought he was a fake, total plastic person. And there were Elvises around 50 years before Elvis. I highly recommend if you can find a copy of Crosstown Traffic by Charles Shaar Murray, do yourself a favour and get it, because it's a history lesson, and it's all black music. The whole American musical experience is, pardon an intentional pun, coloured by the black. What a terrible word. It's just, I'm sort of, insipid looking, but the thing is, it's hard to explain. The bloody white boys doing the blues, I've never liked that. I was conned in my teenage years, but like the Stones, and people put the Stones down, yes, but they really, really, really changed things. Not the Beatles, it was the Stones. They introduced the even the prejudiced people, I suppose, were listening to black music without even really knowing it until they saw a photograph of the Four Tops or the Supremes or what. Look, I was lucky. My father was a great music lover, and him and we were lucky. In Australia, there's a thing called the Australian Broadcasting Commission. And we used to watch, when I was a kid, I'm talking 8, 9 years old, we used to watch bebop jazz. And bebop, if you read Charles Shaar Murray's book, bebop, Charlie Christian, all these people that were before Hendrix, T-Bone, Charlie Christian, then Robert Johnson, then Robert Johnson, Charlie Christian, T-Bone Walker, Lightning Slim. These people were doing it long before Muddy Waters and Howe and Wolf, and I'm not knocking any of the ones that came afterwards. They just sort of perfected it with better technology and more money thrown behind it. But I think the greatest thing about all this is that it did influence some. I just listened to Cheap Thrills again today. Big Brother and the Holding Company. And I had a feeling, I thought, gee, I don't know, there's something about that album. It's in my top 5 albums of all time. And I played it again, and I was in tears on a couple of tracks. And I thought, this is like grunge or heavy metal in 1968. and she's a blues singer, a real blues singer. She feels it, and the band felt it. But they came across. I kept thinking, this has got a Detroit sound about it. It sounds like Detroit. Like Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels, or the Detroit Wheels, Linda Sue Dixon. And then, sure enough, I never realised this, but the lead guitar player in Big Brother was from Detroit. I went, for God's sake, of course. It made sense to me. Now, Detroit is the home of Motown. Oh man, I got the best of the. I found it my best of the Supreme CD today. I'm going to play that tomorrow. But the one thing I was going to say was that I love. I can't stand Dixieland or ragtime or any of that stuff. I can handle swing, western swing. I love bebop. I love jazz fusion. But the thing is, the problem with it is that it is great stuff. But the one thing missing is the human voice, which is the greatest instrument of all. Because before instruments were invented, our monkey-like ancestors swinging out of trees with coconuts and bananas and were singing. So the one thing that I miss with jazz, and I get bored with it after a while, because as great as they are, Coltrane, I'm not going to run down the list of people, Hubbard, Freddie Hubbard, it goes on and on and on. They're great, great, great people. But what they are doing is replicating the ancient. All races have this, races, whatever you want to call it. It was communication. It was stability. It was tribal. It was security. It was strength. The one thing missing with jazz is the human voice. And I sort of had a bit of a moment today where I thought, well, of course, that's why the sax players, the trumpet players, the wind instruments in jazz records are so great, is that they are trying to replicate the human voice. You know, that's it. That's all I got to say. 7 minutes 30. Have a nice day.